See, the same way you believed in the old truth. I'm never successful. I've had a run of bad luck. I never meet good men. I can never lose weight. I can never gain weight. I've always been unlucky. I don't know why. I never manifest. If you put the same level of effort into believing in the opposite of that, and trusting that as you've experienced that reality, the opposite also exists. And here I'm not talking about quantum field or stuff like that, nonsense like that. So I'm not talking about energy. I'm talking about the lived experience through what we did in the webinar. The true experience of you seeing or feeling that version of yourself already existing. And the fact that you know you can be her. Now it's about continuing the process of inner thriving. Inner thriving means that I'm already thriving because I know she exists. And now I have to believe in this new persona. So I give more honoring to the spirits that support the persona. I trust that they're doing the work, that they're going to be doing the work. And I've explained in many videos about this notion of the pendulum. So the idea that, you've been in your own aura so used to accumulating certain, you can call them truths, but implants, ties to specific spirits that have an interest in keeping you undeserving or unbelieving or non-believing, I should say, that you need to do the opposite momentum. So when we're starting the work, as any spiritual work, we're basically cutting ties with those entities that kept you in that version. And we're using the tools, the mental tools, or the subconscious mind, whatever. Not trying to manipulate it. Because when you see that version of yourself, then you don't have to invent, you don't have to create, you don't have to force visualize. It's not a matter of how am I implementing this plan geared towards this version of me, which has more, or which has as much valid reason of existing than the version of myself that was miserable for whatever reason. So this version, you need to commit to it. You need to commit to it the same way you committed to, I've always been unlucky. The men in my life have mistreated me in one way or another. I've always had to work hard to get anything I have. All of those karmas that you held as truths and that you yourself reinforced because you believed in that and you acted upon the belief. So you used something that is unnatural to you, aka your masculine energy, your masculine impulse, because you're on survival mode. So you don't rely on what feels natural because being feminine, enjoying pleasure, enjoying life, believing that anything really can be yours. And once you know the cosmic laws, and once you honor your divinity, your divine entities, then why would it not happen to you? See, you start the work, you give them new assignments, and when you give them new assignments, you know that now they're active. In real life, if I'm an entrepreneur, and you are the entrepreneur of your life, you are the main character of your life, the main character is only proactive in the beliefs. And you act not based on strategy, but on what is normal. That is when you use your masculine, your natural masculine, which is not really masculine in a sense, but the sense of action. But when your action is an extension of your femininity, then your action is comes from you, stems out of you. It doesn't stem out of something outside of you, a toxic trait, or a need to develop a muscle that is unnatural to you. It's like, imagine having, someone does, like, it's modern day, right? 2024. So someone does a BBL, what is it called? A bottom butt, whatever, lift. Basically, they add to their butt to make it bigger. Whatever it is, okay, I'm sorry. I'm very clumsy in the way I explain those things. I've never done any type of plastic surgery, so I really am not knowledgeable about this. But you've seen people who have done such procedures. Sometimes it's women, sometimes it's even men who do that. You can see that there's harmony. When the eye pays attention to one element that distracts them from the whole, then it's not natural. Sometimes it is done in a natural way. I've never seen a natural one personally, because usually when you see someone with a BBL, it's noticeable that, okay, it's a BBL because it's really unnatural. Now, I'm not saying that unnatural means not beautiful, because this is really to each their own. However, for me, it's a nice way to compare, something that is so superficial and really, it's really a non-event, to something that has some spiritual meaning. So the equivalent would be wanting something that it was not yours in the first place. So there is a difference between enhancing what is already yours and completely changing out of feeling lack, feeling a void. Sometimes you have to go through that to compensate because you don't have the tools. You get what comes first, right? And it applies in the real life, and it applies in your inner lived experience of your spirituality and the company you keep spiritually. The way you know your life is amazing is when it's ever evolving, even when there are problems. Problems are just the daily thing. Problem solving comes with the notion of living on earth, right? There are going to be every day solutions to be found to problems, but solutions to be found to problems don't necessarily mean struggle. When there's any type of void, any type of, oh gosh, my day was exhausting and there was no fulfillment, when there is constant questioning of what am I doing? Am I doing it wrong? Why am I not getting results in any aspect? Why am I not loved? Why such and such? And you're constantly questioning, then yes, there's no harmony. There's no harmony. The goal is to have harmony. So when someone, a man does a BPL and has, something that just looks unnatural, because men are not supposed to have big, luscious, round hips and butts. That's just not their make for physical. The stature, the skeleton is not built for that. Or when a woman puts something on top of herself, yes, it's sensational. But there's no sense of harmony, because harmony means looking at the whole and saying, I love what I'm seeing. There's something natural about harmony, something that comes naturally with harmony. Compared to, oh wow, she got a beautiful BBL. So it's almost as though this body part is separate from the whole. So you need to live from now on, understanding that, like I said, if you have a new project, which is the new you, which is that aspect of you which you can be because you tapped into it in the webinar, it means that we also have closed any type of contract with the entities or the energies that were in your vicinity before, because those are the ones that created your current reality. So now you are basically have new contracts with new entities. So if you started a new contract with new entities, it also means that, the new contractors, you can't give them a task, showing them the picture through the vision board that you created. Show them a picture of, okay, this is the what I'm entitled to have. This is the version of myself that I now call into my reality. I know I can. So it's like the equivalent of, okay, the bank approved financing on my new house, financing on my new project, on my new business. So this vision board is you, right? It's the new you, and you have new contractors, and you close contract with the old contractors because, it's just a different work. It's not better or worse. This is not the way we think in spirituality. It's just, you don't want, you're done with this part of your life. You've graduated. What would be the point of showing the new contractors, aka the new law enforcers of your new reality, whomever showed up during the webinar, whether it is an ancestor, whether it is another entity that I don't need to name here, but you have new contractors, you showed them, and you even create the vision board, right? So the images that you saw, and you create the vision board to back what you saw, to say, okay, like an interior designer, say, I want the bed on the left, and I want and I want the crystal chandelier on the main floor, whatever. So you had that vision, right, which is purely 4D, which is tapping into the astral that we did when I'm doing channeling with you, and you got the image. Now you went on whatever media to get, okay, this is what I saw, or this is close to what I saw. So you create this board, right? And any type of designer, or any type of stylist, or any type of fashion designer, any type of writer has some sort of mood board or some sort of reference in colors and images to reflect what they want to be in the 3D. So that's what the vision board is, and that's why we activate the vision board, why we make it a portal. That was, the point. That's the point of the webinar. So once you have that and you give that image, by creating a portal, you make that image, the point of reference for your team, and say, okay, this is it. We're working with this. Now, what is required of you, and that is why, as a woman leaning into sacred femininity, which I call hyperfemininity, your job is not to seek to take action. Your job is not to seek to strategize. Your job is to say, how do I keep honoring my own divinity through my daily sacred moaning, by loving myself without wanting something? Because when you do something to want something, I enjoy when I receive your testimonials of, oh my God, it's amazing. I did the moaning, and after 4 days, I got a raise. Or my man is looking at me differently. He loves me. Or the sex has become so amazing. Or people look at me so differently. I get compliments. You can attest that I don't put a lot of testimonials, right? And maybe maybe it's also a programming of mine to not do that. But as much as I like to see that you're happy, that you have a good experience with moaning and with my potions, I also don't like it because I never want you to misuse or exploit, to still be in that defense scarcity mentality of, I'm going to use this new ritual to get things. You're still not with the program. You're still chasing. You're still doing it for a reason. A hyper feminine just loves being a hyper feminine. Just like when I told you my experience of meeting my goddess the first time a long time ago, when I just told her, show me who you are. And boom, I'm transported, and and I'm seeing her. And you've heard that story before. And the notion of, her being on that beautiful little tiny island, or maybe you call it an island, maybe you call it a rock, but it was beautiful, and with the flowers and whatever. And she was just brushing her hair. She was brushing her long hair and singing. And that's it. And she didn't care about what was going on around her. She was enjoying herself. And I see that because, I go out almost every day to coffee shops, which we call salon de thé here, which really means tea places, tea shop, tea salon. Tea living rooms, really. It's what the actual translation, because it's an old tradition of going to those places, these mansions or manors, or small castles, or private houses of the bourgeoisie or whatever, where you would have tea and a cake and things like that, which is a European tradition, and I live in Europe. So I love this kind of setting. I love to go there, usually almost on a daily basis, but at least several times a week, right? And also I take my money lover on a date once a week, and also I go on dates with my own luscious man. Actually, 2-3 times a week. And why am I saying this? And I notice sometimes, not all the time, but when I stop gazing within, which is enjoying myself, tasting the beautiful cake, and dissecting inside of my mouth, the sugar and the fragrances, whatever, or the scents, or is it raspberry, is it whatever, just loving the experience. And, you're going to have a couple of seconds where, something outside of you is going to grab your attention. And then I notice how most women, because I don't really look at men the way men behave, but because of the nature of my, of my job, I can call it a job. It's not really a job. Anyways, because of the nature of what I do, which is helping women be in the sacred, be in their hyper feminine essence, and loving their experience. My goal is never to make you want things. My goal is to make you love yourself, love the way you look, love the food you eat, make your experience rich and fulfilling and uncompromising. And when you get the money, and when you get the men's attention, and when you get the body transformation, it is just a collateral effect, which is none of my business. All I know is that I'm providing you a tool for your entitlement to having the best life. And that's what my potions are. My potions were never to deal with your scarcity mentality. It's true that I remove curses because, yes, you're going to do my manifestation webinar, and yes, it may come across that, actually, you want to manifest, but there's this thing blocking you, and you have to take care of it in a spiritual way, either by going to me or going to someone else, actually. And I will tell you, I'm amazing at what I do, but it's not my favorite part of the job. It's really not. My favorite part of the job is definitely not to do curse removal or to do all of that stuff, especially in the winter where I have to commit to go in the river or in the ocean and get cold and, and then come back home and get really super tired and all of that. what I love about my purpose and my love and my mission is that I want women to lean and linger in their femininity, in their hyper femininity. And that's when everything comes natural. Your entitlements come natural without you having to reiterate that you have an entitlement, and whatever else you get in the 3D as beautiful addition to your experience, yes, good for you. My job is to make you love your life moment to moment and love the skin you're in moment to moment. Everything else will come naturally. But the goal is not then to say, I'm moaning, when I receive your testimonials. Oh, I moaned for 4 days. My God, MP, you're so powerful. I got a raise. Good for you. But you're still limiting yourself. It's not because you got a raise that you're a divine, luscious, beautiful, feminine woman. It is because you're a hyper, beautiful, feminine woman entitled to have only the best that, of course, you got a raise. That, of course, the good things are going to come to you more and more and more and more. But you still, I feel like some of you misuse why you're coming to me. I feel cheated in terms of energy because it's like, okay, they paid $299. They moan and I want them to moan forever. And yet they're saying, oh, I love that I got a raise, or I love that men are looking at me. Or no, I want you to tell me, gosh, I can't believe I walked out and everything around me seemed more colorful. The pinks look brighter. The sun looks brighter. I feel like I love people's voices. Where you start seeing life through the lens of a goddess incarnate. And a lot of you just love the addiction to your scarcity, mediocre, torn, shadow working, forever healing character. And you expect the work that we do in the webinar, and you expect the work that we do when you moan every day and you use my beautiful potion and, to be like magically working when you're still acting from the point of view of someone who is not used to being lucky. This webinar is for you to tap into that version of yourself and to know that she's you, okay? It's not just a regular visualization. You're going to have the vision. You kind of know already what you want, right? But we need, the webinar is to have confirmation of it. To confirm that, okay, this is part of my timeline. Let's link you up with the spirit family to help you through that. And then on a daily basis, you moan, and you use your vision board as the portal to connect with whomever showed up, with the entities. That's why we make it a portal. And if you want to add affirmations, yes, you add affirmations along the line. That's not my job. You don't pay me, $200 to do all of that. I'm sorry. The webinar is for you to link up to your timeline and to do the vision board in a way that is a portal. But then it's your job to wake up every day. And that's why you need the moaning. That's why you need the potion. I'm sorry. I mean, can you manifest your life, your actual life, as a beautiful superstar of your life? Yes. Without the potions? Yes. But, my job is to show you hyper femininity. And those are the tools that I know. So I can't really vouch for any other tools that I don't know about, okay? If you come to me, I'm going to talk about what I know and what I know to be true in my experience, and the experience of the women who have preceded me. So your job by doing that is to maintain your mental, which has been used to being unlucky, being depleted, being in the forever healing and then forever shadow, the forever hoping, the forever misery, and the forever, I don't know when it's going to happen, the forever questioning. It's to make sure that you don't have room for any type of questioning so that you reconnect with that version of you in a way that is pleasurable. So none effort to be made. The only effort you make is to show up for that ritual with you, with that portal, meaning with the entities that are with you, supporting you. Because before, you didn't know they existed, but without knowing it, you were already doing that with the entities that were supporting your disgrace, your unlucky experience, your feeling depleted, your forever healing, forever in the shadow. Those entities, you kept the attention with them by still believing and acting and reflecting upon those realities that were true yesterday. So now, because it's not natural to you, we create the portal, when I talk about how to do the vision board, how to turn it into an actual portal of manifestation. That's to manually do something that you did by default before. Because your default mode is still, I'm unlucky, forever healing. Those things don't happen to me. How am I going to get there? I'm so far from that vision. Your mental still works that way. So until your mental starts seeing proof that, I'm actually lucky, I'm actually this, tap into the pleasure principle and connect through the portal that we create. Until it becomes natural, until you don't need to tap into that, until you walk past your vision board and immediately you've activated, that reality, that portal. But before that happens, your mental still needs you to guide it to believe that this is my new persona. And you need to act based on that persona. You need to make your decisions based on that persona, reminding yourself. And that's why when you do the morning ritual, you come out of that, okay, I'm reminded of who I am. It's like, haven't you ever seen people, like you talk about, you see documentaries, for example, on the president of a country where they want to be president. They dreamt about it. And when they show up, there's some sort of imposter syndrome. They're like, oh, wow, I've made it. But then they have to show up as the president, right? Everyone is expecting them to be the president. So what are we doing? What's the plan? You're now the president, day one. They have to say, okay, let me get back into me.